Good morning, class 9 students. In today's session, we are about to start a new chapter, and the name of the chapter is The Little Girl, and it is written by Catherine Mansfield. So before we proceed with the text of the chapter, let's get to know a few things about the author of the prose, Kathleen Mansfield. She was born on 14 October 1888 and she died on 9 January 1923. She is a prominent, very famous modernist writer, and she was born and brought up in New Zealand, and she writes short stories and poetry under the name Catherine Mansfield. Uh, and she died in France when she was 34. Okay, so the chapter is The Little Girl, and you will see that you will get to know that the author Catherine Mansfield, she has tried to showcase the parents' bond with their children, right? So you will actually see the characters bond with her parent, and let's find out who the character is in this poem. So the little girl, it is the story of a little girl, Kezia, who misunderstood her father's, strictness, and she most of the time she's scared of him. That is very common with the children. The children who are young or who are very small, right? So everyone's parents, they are strict, right? They are strict, but most often they children, they think that their father is not understanding them, or he's being so rude, or but strict, but we actually we kind of forget that it is being it if it is being employed, or if it is being if our father or parent, if they be mother, if they behaves, if they behave in such a way, so it doesn't mean that they are actually very very strict, or I mean, they're bad. They're actually doing it so that you could improve, and you could learn something, and so that um, you don't develop bad habits, or you don't fall under bad company. So you see that Kezia, she also misunderstood her misunderstands her father's strictness, and she's actually trying to she's trying to avoid him. She tries to run away from him. But children, it is also, she tries to run away from it is also important that that if you have make a mistake, I think your parent has full right to show you what you have done wrong, and so that you don't repeat the mistake again. So if you do mistake, obviously you're bound to get some scolding from your parents, so which is very common, and you should accept it, and you should, instead of blaming other, or keeping this having this view that your father is very strict or rude, you should think that you should try to understand that it is actually you who have made a mistake, and they have a right to talk to you, and to show and to point out, they have right to point out your mistake. So she thinks that his father, she thinks him to be as big as a giant, and she's whenever she faces him, she kind of she feels, she gets nervous, she get jitters, nervousness, and she kind of flumble, she shutter, and she can she enables to speak. Okay, so let's go through the text. Do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. Obviously, when we were young, we could not understand, but now we are grown up, we could actually understand that why they are being so rude. So I think it happens with everyone. The story is about a little girl whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding. Will probably find an echo in every home. So you will see that Kezia's feeling will also change, and it will change from from fear to understanding. Later you will find that she has actually understood her father. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared. Who is he here? Kezia's father, right? So For Kezia, her father was a figure, something to be afraid of, right? And something to be avoided. So every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." So, this is actually a habit of parents, everywhere now. It is common, and it is very prevailing in, modern, uh, in abroad and in other countries, right? Especially in America. And because in we in our tradition we touch the feet of parents, right? But and you see that when her father leaves for office, he comes into her room and he gives her a kiss on her forehead. And how does she respond? She says, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. And then she waits her father to leave, and she strained to hear the sound of the door being closed and the footsteps, running away. And then, if the very moment she finds that the carriage which was the carriage is it's going away, the carriage where his father is sitting, right? And then she feels comfortable. So in the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall, "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers." So when he comes back, Kezia, she would stand near the staircase, and she would, hear her father saying that, "Where is my tea? Where is the newspaper?" And mother, please, it means who is mother? Kezia's father's mother. It means she is Kezia's grandmother. Understand? So, okay. And yes, where are my slippers? Kezia's mother would call to her, "If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots." Slowly, the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still, across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. She's yes, she is nearby because she was standing near the staircase, so she was listening. So when the mother called that, "Kezia, you can come downstairs and you can take your father's boots." So this so she will climb down the stair. She climbs down the stair and she comes across the hall, and then she pushes open the drawing room door. By the time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. So her father, Kezia's father, he wears spectacles, right? Because I believe he's reading the newspaper now. So spectacles, they actually magnify your eyes. So when she comes and she looks at her father's eyes through those glasses. I mean, he's also wearing, right? So she could actually see them, see his eyes when he's wearing, the glasses. So, well, Kezia's, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? And now the father asks her to take off the boots and take them outside, and he also asks her that that if she behaved, whether she behaved well or not. And she, because she's scared of her father, she again flumble and she shudder. I don't know, that's how she, she's not she's unable to say a complete sentence, and she's breaking up because her voice is breaking up. I mean, her sentence is breaking up because she is very scared of, she's scared, she's afraid of her father. You don't know, if you shudder like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor, right? So this is what her father has said, that even father imitates her way of speaking, that you don't know. And he says that if you shudder, I mean if you are unable to speak properly, then the mother will take you to the doctor, right? And she never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. And this does not happen actually. She doesn't suffer from any disease or any problem. She only stutters when her father is, I mean, when she's in front of her father. This is only where she stutter, right? So what is the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Caesius, carry up my teacup back to the table carefully. Wretched means unhappy. So, because she is not unhappy, but she is scared. That is why the father is asking that why the child is looking so dull. He's asking his mother, and he asks her to, I wish you taught this child to appear on the brink of suicide. On the brink of suicide. On the brink means on the verge of suicide. Suicide is when you end your life. So in this particular line, it means that he is asking her mother that he should have at least taught her to to stay a little bit to stay happy, to stay happy. That is what he's trying today. Because she always keeps unhappy face, and the reason is, what is the reason? She is scared of her father, right? And why is she scared of her father? Because her father is very strict, and he's not rude, but he's very strict, and he's being strict because it is the way of life. He has to be strict. If he if he didn't be, I mean, if he weren't strict, right, the child would would learn bad things. I mean, it is important for the elder, and your parents to be strict with you, right? He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was thinking about a giant. So this is where she like a giant, you could say, the figure of speech simile. She compares her father as as a giant, because his according because she's small and he's a grown-up man, so he's got big hands, big mouth, and obviously he will have a big mouth when he will yawn, right? So she thinks that he's like a giant. Understand the figure of speech is simile. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother, but the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. So, usually on Sunday, grandmother would ask her she would ask her to go downstairs and have a nice talk with her mother and father. But this girl, Kezia, she always, she finds that her mother is reading, and her father stretched out on the sofa. He's in a relaxing position, he's relaxing, and you could actually see that he has covered his face with handkerchief, and you could see that his feet on one of the best cushions, and he's sleeping peacefully and snoring, right? Snoring means he could actually, he's having a peaceful sleep. That is why he's making sound while he's sleeping. So you could as you can see in the picture, that he is the mother, Kezia's mother, is reading the newspaper. Kezia's mother reading the newspaper, and the father is he's lying on the sofa, stretched out. He's relaxing, and he has covered his face with the handkerchief, and you could see that one of his leg is on the best cushion, as written in the text. The little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa. So she sat on a stool, gravely, seriously. Gravely means seriously. She watched him until he woke and stretched out and asked the time, then looked at her, right? So she was, she sat on a stool. She watched them, and until her father woke up, and then he asked the time, and then he looked at her. So Kezia, she's actually, don't stare so, Kezia, you look like a little brown oil. And Kezia is keenly watching her father, because she's scared, and I don't know, because she has something in her mind. She's very scared. So, and obviously she could not take her eyes off her father, because that is because of fear, right? And the father, he says that he actually she looks like a little brown owl. This is the figure of speech is metaphor. Brown owl means, the way the owl watches, things at night with big eyes. That's how she is watching her father. Okay, so I think that's all we will be, that's all we have done. I think we will do the remaining part of the chapter in the second video. So remember the chapter, The Little Girl. It is written by Catherine Mansfield, and the story is about a little girl named Kezia, right? And she lives with her parents and grandmother, but she is scared. She's scared of. She's afraid of father, and she thinks that her father is very rude, and and why does she have she has developed this understanding because her father is he's being strict all the time, but later in the chapter you will see that her perception, that her fear has changed, and now she has understood uh, that her father is not, he's strict, but he's also concerned. He's not rude, he's not a giant. So that's all we have in this chapter, children. In case you have any questions, please ask me. And we don't have so many difficult words. The best thing about beehive is that on the left hand side you have all the difficult word meanings, so you could actually study and understand them before you know before going through the chapter. And please include all these word meanings, write all these word meanings in your notebook, and also the one you find difficult. So that's all for today. And the remember the theme of the chapter is that the Catherine Mansfield, she is trying to depict the relationship between parents with their children, right? Especially when the children are, when they are young. And so that's all we have in this chapter. Thank you everyone, have a nice day.